computer. All right, let's take a look at the ending of chapter 7 of Ecclesiastes of Kohelet. Chapter 7, verses 25 through 29. Let's say our bracha together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. I'm pulling it up. It's been, I think, a couple weeks. Did we meet last week? I don't think we did. So we are now, and maybe not even the week before that, because it was also, we had the conservative service. So a couple of verses up, we had verse 24. It says, Rachok ma shehaya va'amok amok mi yimatzenu. The secret of what happens is elusive and deep, deep down. Who can discover it? And this is part of that narrative in which he speaks of his journey, right? We have at the verse before that, Kol zeh nisiti b'chokhmah. All of this, I was tested, or I tried, or I experimented with wisdom. Amarti ve'ach ech kama vehi rechoka mimenu. I said and I interpreted, or I tried to be wise with it, but it was far from me. So again, he's in this pursuit of the meaning of life. This is the hero's journey in a nutshell. Rachok mashaya, far what was, va'amok amok mi yimatzenu. Far is what was. In other words, well, they have it as what happens is elusive and deep, but far away. Amok is deep. So the way they construct this translation is to reorient the word order. And very, very deep, what will be found? Who will find it? So, Rachok Mashaya, far away. What is this that just popped up? Sylvia Klein and TV's. I don't know what that is. Okay.
It's the link to the Avot of on Sefaria.
Okay.
Rabbi
Thank you.
Natan. Yeah.
Oh, that's
not
great.
for yeah.
Okay. V'amok amok misha yimatzein. So in other words, the meaning of life is hard to get to. So I think that's how we would translate those verses. Let's go to verse 25. Saboti ani v'libi ladat v'latur uvakesh chokhmach v'cheshbon v'ladat reshas kesel v'asichlut holelot. So this one translates it as, I put my mind to studying, exploring, and seeking wisdom. Saboti is an interesting word. I and my heart, saboti, I surrounded myself, maybe something along those lines, right? To go around, I went around and around to know and to explore and to seek wisdom and an accounting of things. An accounting, right? We have cheshbon nefesh v'cheshbon, an accounting. To know evil, idiocy, and another form of idiocy, and folly. So I decided to really make sense of idiocy. I think that's what he's saying. How do your translations have this?
Mine says, I turned I and my mind to understand and to explore and seek wisdom and reason, and to know the wickedness of foolishness, to know folly and delirium.
Yeah, so he was, like in the Indigo Girls song. He went to the doctor, he went to the fountain, he looked for the children, looked to the children, he drank from the fountain. And there's more than one answer to these questions, pointing him in a crooked line. There you go. So, anyway, he's now going back on the pathway to figuring out the meaning of life. Umotze ani mar mimavet. Et haisha asher hi. Oh, et haisha asher hi mitzodim v'charamim libah asurim yadeha. This is heavy Hebrew. Tov lifnei Elohim yimaled mimena v'chote yilached ba. And I found bitterer than death, a woman, or the woman, who is stepping and she is all traps, mitzodim. I think that's an interesting tzadad, besieged. Okay, that sounds good. Hamitzodim, a woman who is besieged or held back, something along that way. V'charamim, and excommunication of her heart, something along that. So basically a miserly person. Asurim yadeha, her hands being fettered is a good word. Asur, like matir asurim, the one who frees the captives. These are captives, but asur is also prohibited. Those who are fettered, who are under control. Her hands fettered, and it's funny. Her heart is snares. I don't even. Oh, her heart is snares is liba asurim. Okay, interesting. Liba. It's a little confusing the way it's written. Yeah.
So my translation, your translation says that her hands are fetters, not fettered.
Yeah, I don't know why, because asurim, I guess, could be a thing, or it could be a state of affairs. Matir asurim, for instance, is freeing those who are fettered, who are captive, who are held hostage.
So I listened to just a class on this, and the woman who taught it was saying how this chapter sort of is it parallels the story of Joseph and Potiphar's wife. It was very interesting the way she did it, because she made it like this is a story, this as a piece of literature, as opposed to proverbs and ideas. And when she did that, everything kind of lined up. It was interesting.
Interesting. And then Tov lifnei Elohim yamaleh, one who is good before God will escape from her.
And that would be Joseph.
V'chote yilached ba, and one who sins will be captured by her. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, you're right. There's definitely you could make a connection to Bat Potiphar. Let's see if Rashi does something like that. What does he say about this? It might be she's looking at something along those lines. And I would find more bitter than death, which is the severest of the 10 harsh things that were created in the world, as it is stated. I find more bitter and severe than it, the woman. This refers to heresy. Okay, that doesn't really help us, Rashi. Thank you, though.
I prefer the Joseph story than the old, women are evil and they're trapping men. Let's just, and it says the woman, not all women.
Right.
And mine
Right.
doesn't signify the woman. I have semicolons and then it says, woman is more bitter than death, for
Hmm.
she is all traps with nets laid in her heart. Her arms are a prison. One favored by God escapes her, while a sinner becomes entrapped. So I've got this whole image that she pulls everyone in that sins.
Well, and the whole thing could just be the imagery of not even woman, but all the things out there that seduce us away from our purpose.
Hmm.
Well, look at so Steinsaltz, the same one that you have for Tehillim, does this commentary translation. I find more bitter than death the seductive woman. So anything that's in bold is a translation or close to one, and the non-bold is his interpretation. I find more bitter than death the seductive woman, who in her heart is snares and nets, her hands shackles. So again, if you want to do the Potiphar, the wife of Potiphar comparison, that works nicely. It is therefore fitting that one who is good before God, a good and honest man, will escape from her, but the sinner will be captured by her trap. Kohelet is not preaching celibacy, but rather is calling upon man to reflect soberly and cautiously upon his passions and the power of women over him, so that he does not get caught in the trap of a woman of that kind.
Well, the other thing is there's so much about idolatry, idolatry, idolatry. In another book, I was reading about how seductive idolatry, you know,
Yeah.
people fell. It was very, very hard to resist. And that could also take someone in, and then they would have trouble extricating themselves from that.
Right. Yeah. Pretty wild.
Well, there's nothing, I mean, this is the thing. There's no simple way of interpreting things when you're Jewish, right?
Well, Shivim Panim La Torah. There's 70 faces to every verse of Torah. Okay. I think we can keep going. It's not a great text from the sense of it can very easily lead someone to believe in misogyny. It doesn't mean that we can't find interpretations that are non-misogynistic, but it certainly lends itself to misogyny, as does the story of Eshet Potiphar, the wife of Potiphar. Right? These are stories that make women into what's the word? Jezebels, or that's not the right term. Women, women who are,
Oh,
cunningly seductive.
wasn't Lilith, Eileen and I were texting about Lilith and Naama, the demon that seduces men. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's all written by man. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, I don't want to go down that pathway. It's not going to
No.
help us. Re'eze matzati amra kohelet achat la'achat limtzo cheshbon. See, this is what I found, said Kohelet. Although it's interesting, Kohelet is in a feminine form. I wonder if someone has any commentary about that. I bet Radak has something to say. Is there a Radak on this? Maybe not. Yeah, why is it in the feminine? Is there a Radak? No, there isn't. Right, because it says Amra Kohelet. See, this I found, said Kohelet. Each and every one to find a meaning or something find logic, something along those lines. Accounting is what we usually say for cheshbon, but I think based in this context, cheshbon really means, it's from the same word as lachshov, which means to think. So I think reason of things is not bad. Meaning of life could be part of this too. Okay? Let's keep going. Asher od bikshal nafshi velo matzati. Adam echad me'elef מצאתי, ואישה בכל אלה לא מצאתי. My soul was still seeking, but I didn't find. A person, one person out of 1,000 I found. And a woman with all these I did not find. I found one among so many was never a woman. He's okay. I don't know what to make of this verse, so I'd be interested in what your commentaries say.
Mine says, "This too my soul sought and did not find. One man in 1,000 I found, but even one such woman I did not."
I'm not even sure what he's referring to.
Some sort of knowledge of wisdom. Because based on Rashi says, it is customary in the world that out of 1,000 who enter a school to learn scripture, emerge from them successful and capable of studying the Mishnah, only 100 out of 1,000. And of those 100 who enter Mishnah, only 10 of them emerged for Gemara. So basically 10% of those who enter a school are successful with Mishnah, and of those only 10% are capable of Gemara. And then it goes on to say that only 10% of those, right, out of 10, only one emerges who is capable of being a posek, of basically making halakhic decisions. So he's basically saying, according to Rashi at least, there's only 1 in 1,000 people are really qualified to be teachers of law, of Jewish law.
Teachers are interpreters.
No, he's saying
teachers.
He says teachers rendering decisions, right? Not teachers, but really like a posek, a religious authority. Only 1 in 1,000 is a religious authority. We can look at the Hebrew to see if that's just modern translation. Let's see what it says. Ein matzliach mehem ela echad l'hora'ah hare. Oh, to teach it. There's only one person out of 1,000 who emerges to teach it. Yeah, it's a little different, this translation. It doesn't say to render a decision. It says to teach it, right? L'hora'ah, to teach it, meaning the law. So I guess that's why it would be someone who's a posek, a halachic authority. So there's some sort of way in which he's talking about, learning is, and none of them have ever been a woman.
Well, but that could be turned around to a feminist advantage, saying, maybe if women had been taught.
You can say that.
No, but, that could be interpreted going back to Adam not teaching Eve correctly.
Well, that's all midrash.
Yeah, well.
I mean, since when is Adam supposed to teach Eve anything? They both came on the earth at the same time. Well, depending on which story.
But she's the one who thought you can't even touch it. But that was never what
You're talking about the tree of knowledge?
Yeah.
Of good and evil?
Yeah. But we don't need to digress into that.
I think that's pretty far off, because what he's trying to say here is simply that women are not going to be scholars. And it says, V'isha b'chol ela, this is Rashi, and a woman among all of these, afilu be'elef, even among 1,000, lechach atat tzarich lizaher ba. And even among 1,000, thus you need to be cautious with her, with a woman, because they don't know halacha. I mean, that I don't see any way to get around that in this.
No, but when we read this stuff, this happened all those years ago. If the translation started from now, I think a lot of this would be different because life is different. The world is different. So, we have to take it with a understanding that it's way back when, and how are you going to interpret that for your life now? That's
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's,
Right.
I think in essence, Sylvia, when you point out, how much of this is a male tradition that was
right.
transferred from
Right.
generation to generation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
It's
know
just
better.
that as we go through these, we often ask, why? Why
Yeah.
is this so?
That was the why.
Yeah.
Okay. Last
Well, I
verse.
mean, yeah, she hasn't got a chance to learn it. Okay.
Okay. Levad re'ezeh matzati asher asa Elohim et hadam yashar vehema bikshu chishvenot rabim. Alone, I see this. I found God, that which God had made. Asher Asa. I found that God made humanity direct or straight, or they say plain, and they bikshu cheshbonot rabim, and so God made us. This is so Zen. This is like really Zen. God made, this is my interpretation without giving a lot of thought to it. God made human beings direct, straight, on target, but they sought chishvenot rabim, but they started to interpret everything. In
Well,
other words, we lost our connection to our essence because we started getting hyper interpretive. That's what I think this says, which
yeah,
is,
but God gave
wow.
us intelligence and free will, and we're using it.
Look at how they translate this. They sought out many stratagems, plans, and designs of sin. So it is expounded in the Midrash. I wonder where he's referencing. It doesn't say. Vehema, but they, Misha Nizdavga. Oh. When his wife Chava was paired up with him. Rashi is explaining the reason for the change to plural of they when the subject is singular man. And they became two and were called they. Oh, he's dealing with this word vehema. Anyway, interesting.
Yeah, for mine says they have sought out many inventions. That's not, I don't know. That makes it sound like they have invented, I don't know, well, philosophies as opposed to reasoning.
Yeah, I don't think that quite. I mean, it is a weird word, chish venot. Uh, let's see what chish von. Oh, chish von.
It's not Heshbon.
No, it's a PL. It's a different chishavon, a device or an invention.
Oh, interesting. So that is closer than reasoning.
Yeah, and they also have a pasuk here from Second Chronicles. V'ya'as chishvanot machashevet choshev, and he made contrivances, the invention of inventive men. Interesting. Well, there you have it.
Yeah, we made it.
So something is wrong with humanity, but they're saying that there's a lot of interpretation that the Zen comment is we have a certain nature and we got caught up in our heads. That's kind of what this seems to suggest. And even Rashi seems to reinforce that by saying that we got sidetracked with our scheming or whatever you want to call it.
I keep thinking, there's this story, the oven of Acme,
Uh huh.
where um, all these supernatural things happened to say that one of the sages was correct. But still, the rest of the sages said, no, we've interpreted it this way. And yet another supernatural thing would happen.
If I
And
am correct, dot dot dot. Right? Is it
yes,
that one?
yes, yes, the walls, the river will go backwards, blah, blah, blah. And then, at the end, they end up excommunicating the guy whose ideas were, what's the word, supported by all these supernatural events. And then God chuckles and says, well, they've defeated me. The human mind of reasoning and interpretation, my children have defeated me. What are
Right.
you looking for the oven of Achnai?
Yeah. Is there a source that you have for it?
Oh gosh. Sometimes Safari is very frustrating. Did you
I
write
just
it?
found it.
Oh, good. Yeah, Baba Mitsia. I couldn't remember which, Ah, okay, there you go. Yeah, it's whether the oven was pure or could get purity and impurity, which is something that's so far from our world now. But wow, it was a really big deal. Oh yeah, the carob tree.
Right. Oh yeah, it's a weird story.
Yeah,
I haven't seen this
because
story in
there's
a while.
sand in the oven, and would the sand carry impurity?
So how
And
does
that
this
was
relate to our
oh
parasha?
because I'm sorry, because all of the reasoning and all the interpretation and all the hermeneutics or whatever that the sages around, um, yeah, none of it is right. I mean, it is more correct than the Torah being in heaven. They're able to defeat. If you go down, my sons have defeated me. My sons have defeated me. God says,
Uh-huh.
because their reasoning has defeated all these supernatural events. So what it's saying is the opposite of what we just read. That was why I brought it up.
That the interpretation is important.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we got through chapter 7. Hadranalach, chapter 7. Um, anyway, thank you for this, and I think we will meet up again. So next week, I probably could do it, and the following week after that, I'll pass. But let's meet up next week. I'm going to be teaching at we have a Shabbat service, a Reform service at Temple Bethel. Let me turn off
Bye.
the recording, by the way.
Bye, everyone.